the Torah of the Spirit of life that's in Messiah Yeshua. Who gave the law at Mount Sinai? Yeshua. Who is the walking, talking, living Torah? Yeshua. So when it says the Torah of the Spirit of life that's in Messiah Yeshua, what did Yeshua say that he would be giving them when he would send the Ruach? That this would be the Ruach that would lead them into all understanding of truth. The Spirit of truth. The Torah is truth. Psalm 119, verse 142 says the Torah is truth. And verse 160 also in that psalm says the Torah is truth. John 14 tells us that Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the life, right? All right? And then, of course, John 1:14 tells us that the truth, the life, the word put on a flesh suit and dwelled among us. The Torah of the Spirit of the life in Messiah Yeshua has set me free. You know what? I'm going to read that again. The Torah of the Spirit of the life. So it's the fullness of the intent of the life that's in Yeshua. It just hit me the way that, I almost skipped that extra word in there when it says, I said the Torah of the Spirit of life. No, of the life that's in Yeshua. What is the life that's in Yeshua? The Torah. The Torah gives life. He is life. He says, I am the truth, the way, and the life. I'm life. The Torah brings life. Because you can walk in the Spirit in a flesh suit. Because we're not talking about your being corporeal or not, okay? We're talking about, are you walking in the fullness of the intent of the Creator, which is what the Spirit means, okay? And go back and listen to Understanding the Spirit, Understanding the Ruach teaching. It's the fullness of the intent of something, the spirit of it. You know, even today we talk about, in the legal realm, there's the law and there's the spirit of the law. What's the spirit of the law I'm always referring to? The intention of the creator of the law. What they had in mind when they created that law. He says, so that the righteousness of the Torah should be completed in us. And there's a caveat here, and I want us to catch this every time Paul says it, anybody else says it. It never just straight out says that it's just us who believe that there's a Messiah. It says, shall be completed in us who do not walk, which means we walk a different way. Now, you're not going to walk that way if you don't believe in Messiah. You understand what I'm saying? But it's not just this esoteric idea of, I believe there's a Messiah. Well, so what? The demons know there's a Messiah too. But what do you do with the information? Okay, he's saying this is so that it can be completed in us who are doing something. We're not walking according to the flesh, but we're walking according to the Spirit. What are the matters of the Spirit? I'm serious. Anybody ever wonder that when you were in church? Okay, I mean, what are the matters of the Spirit? Now, the way I just explained it to you, you know exactly what it is. In other words, the fullness of the intent of everything that Yahweh instructed. So trying to understand the mechanics of his instructions and then take it to the fullest extent of what he intended you to get out of that instruction. All right? We keep the feasts. And in the fullness of the intent, we also try to understand what they're teaching us about the plan of salvation, what they teach us about Messiah, what they teach us about community. In other words, we try to get everything out of it that he intended while doing the mechanical thing of observing the feast. Because you can observe the feast and make none of that effort for the rest of it. And so there's a purpose to everything that he instructs us to do, and we should be getting the fullness of it. Those who are in the flesh doing it in a limited way to their preferences because they don't want to do the fullness of the intent and they only want to do what they want to do and they're only going to do it as far as they're going to go with it, that is still not going to please Elohim. You can go around and have never committed adultery, but you're not going to please Elohim if you wanted to. Okay, if you wanted to commit it. You understand? Because you're still in the flesh. Doing everything in Torah mechanically, if that's all you do, is still flesh. It's still flesh. So I'm not even talking about all this aberrant behavior that society would agree is wrong. I'm saying you could actually keep the commandments, but not do it in the fullness of the intent, and you're still not going to be pleasing Elohim. There's a battle going on. Now he's telling you this battle is not just about a law, it's about a mind focused on one of those two laws. okay? Because the main thing that makes you what you are is not your body, it's your mind. Okay, and if that mind is directed towards the flesh, it will result in death. If that mind is directed towards the spirit, it will result in life and peace. It depends on where you direct your focus. Look, every motivational teacher out there will tell you that, you're going to end up in life wherever you direct your focus. You direct it long enough in a direction, you'll end up wherever that focus is taking you. And so he's telling you the same thing here. And I've had people say to me all the time, well, yeah, you want to teach all this personal development stuff, but where's that in the Bible? There it is right there. So in other words, you can claim to be a Messiah. You can claim to know who he is. You can claim to know that he died and was resurrected. You can claim all kinds of things. He says, but if you don't have this mind in you, which you have to, that 3-letter word will mess your whole life up. You have to let it be in you, okay? He says, if you don't have the fullness of the intent of Messiah, not the fullness intent of your church or some teacher or your best friend or your mother, your father, whoever, but the fullness of the intent of Messiah, then you are not one of his. Then you're not one of his. How do you know? Well, you don't know by asking somebody, oh yes, of course, I'm filled with the Spirit and everything. No, you watch them and see how they walk. Are they walking according to flesh? Or are they walking according to the Spirit? I've heard so many people say things that make sense, I suppose, from a fleshly side, but make no sense from a spirit side. Well, I just found out about the Sabbath, and if I tell my boss that I have to have the Sabbath off, I'll get fired, and then the company, or I'll have to quit, and the company's going to be left in a lurch because I'm so important in the company. You don't owe the company anything. I mean, you do, but you don't, if you understand. When it's a comparison of the above versus the below, all your obligations are to the above. Back to 13, if you live according to the flesh, you're going to die. But if you, by the Spirit, you put to death the deeds of the body, you shall live. So it takes the Spirit to put to death the deeds, okay? You don't put to death the deeds and then hope you're going to get the Spirit, okay? You must come into a spirit mindset to be able to reject the deeds of the flesh. That's when an opportunity presents itself where you can do A or B, and only one of them is spirit and the other one is flesh. And if you don't have enough of a spirit mindset, you're not going to know what to do. You're going to go with what you want, whichever one is pulling on your flesh. It's when you get the mind of Messiah, the spirit mindset, then you can see which is which.